ladies to Massive Capital Girl Society. We are a dynamic group of driven women from all backgrounds and walks of life. We have Lebanon in the house tonight with Elsa. We are joining forces together to create generational wealth, build meaningful relationships, and attain personal, professional, and spiritual growth. Who is with us tonight?
Woo, let's go. Well, good evening, everyone. Yeah, Brooke. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria, and I'm here to welcome our guest speaker, Miss Elsa Cordovae. Elsa is a go-getter, passionate woman, entrepreneur from Lebanon. And then I think it is 2 o'clock in the morning there. That was my little insert. She is residing with her husband and 3 precious children. She has held various leadership positions and has had a deep understanding of the financial sector and human relationships, leading her to develop and invest further in her coaching and training programs for corporate organizations, governmental entities, and NGOs. Today, as a certified accredited trainer and executive success and impact coach, she wants to leverage her background of 20 plus years of experience in wealth management by positioning herself beyond the financial advisor and as a partner in her client's journey toward success, growth, and fulfillment. Her vision is in a world where effective communication and empathy reign, leaders inspire, empower, and create leaders. Individuals are equipped to overcome self-doubt, limiting beliefs to reach their full potential and pursue their dreams. This is all while staying true to their core values and, above all, integrity. She strives to unlock the potential of leaders and their families by empowering them to navigate the complexities of their businesses, managing their family dynamics, and ensuring the transfer of vision, value, and wealth from one generation to the next. Ultimately, she supports them in building a legacy, sustained success. Please welcome Elsa. Yay!
Thank you.
Welcome, Elsa. We're super excited to have you. So tell us a little bit about your journey, what you do, and all the things that you have achieved in your career.
Well, to start, I'm like Maria just said, I'm an executive coach and trainer, and the way what brought me there is the feeling that I've always been a coach. So throughout my career in the wealth management, of course, money mattered. And I've done a lot of wealth management and investment to my clients, but I realized that what really made a difference actually from my peers was the trust and the listening I brought to the table. So I managed to create a deep relationship with most of my clients. Some of them are today 80 years old or more. And so it's been a very long journey of 25 years with them. They were in the middle of their 50s, and now today they are really at a different stage. And if I look back, I feel that I've always been a coach because of that, because of all these skills that I put on the table. And the fact that I've always based my relationships on relationship, on the relationship side, and not on deal, because most of us in the financial industry, most of people are deal oriented. Like, I get this client, I do the deal, and I move on. And this has never been my thing. And I've realized that my clients saw me the same way, saw the relationship with me as the same way. So I became their confidant. I became their, it started actually by, instead of just working with their bankable assets and their financial assets, they started asking me for advice, or at least just for listening to their aspirations, to their dreams, to the different things that they wanted to do. And when I moved to family offices, so I started my career as a wealth manager, but then I slowly moved to have less clients and really focus on bankable, non-bankable assets and deepen my relationships with ultra high net worths and family businesses. So by moving to this, I was then officially on the side of the client. I've always been on their side, but then not being part of an institution, of a particular institution, has helped me a lot, you know, to move from even deeper to another type of relationship. And this is where I've decided that I really want to focus on, you know, helping people investing in themselves before investing in their money. Especially that, like I was saying, when they reach their 80s, you realize that you need to have, most people needs to go through a trauma, or needs to become older to realize what they really want from life. So they spend their time making money, and just increasing their investment. And I saw it. I saw most family offices collapsing from one generation to another because the focus was only on the money side. I realized all the challenges that they need to navigate, and I really want to make a difference at this stage. So helping entrepreneurs of all stages, from generation 1 to any other generation, to really understand the importance of investing in the skills, in the values, in the vision, and in the legacy they want, and not just in the wealth as, you know, bankable assets. And here I am today pursuing my dream and creating my business in the middle of, you know, one of the most challenging times that we have in Lebanon.
That's so amazing. And one of the things that actually today we were talking about was that part of a relationship. Like, we usually say, like, this is business, this is not personal, but no, like, we are talking about retirement accounts. We're talking about people wiring us like $100,000, $200,000. Of course it needs to be personal, and of course we need to get in a relationship with all the investors. So I really love that you are very relationship oriented, and especially most of us are in multifamily real estate. So everything that we do, either with investors or with our partners in the deals, everything is based on relationships. And that's amazing. I'm excited to for the rest of the conversation.
Definitely. I mean, you are helping so many people, but what keeps you motivated and on business? And you just talked about all the circumstances and adversity that you kind of touched on it, that you're going through. Like, how do you stay motivated?
I guess it's the impact, and it's one of my biggest motivation is the referrals that I get from the testimonials that I get. So I've always dreamed to make a difference and to have an impact, and that's what. If I go back to my career, I started as a financial advisor. Then I went to family offices to increase my, you know, the depth of the relationship, and then at some point, I took a sabbatical year, and I went to and I really was obsessed by making an impact. And although I was really passionate about my work as a wealth manager, I wanted to make, like, it was for me enough to enrich the rich, you know. And I was so obsessed by making an impact, waking up in the morning and feeling that I was making a difference that goes beyond money. And so I thought that NGOs would be the answer. And since I was 13, I was volunteering, and up till now in NGOs. At that moment, having my third kid, I said, okay, maybe the solution, because I didn't have enough time anymore to volunteer and take care of my family and work. I said, maybe the solution to make an impact is to leave the financial industry and go and work with NGOs. So I can still have some income, and I still work, and I do the impact. But today, I definitely feel that this was just a dot of the many dots I've connected to reach my aspiration and to pursue my dream, because it was not the case. the life of the NGOs. I mean, they have a vision, they have a passion, but there are lots of challenges and a lot of the if you want, well, from my experience, the corporate side, that is the challenges, the ego, unfortunately, and they don't have the right corporate structure to be sustainable, but at the same time they have all the negative sides of the institutions. So what I've decided is to take a step back. And what motivates me today is that I really found my passion. And it's about making the impact while being a business owner, while keeping my advisory services on investment, but give it a sense, give the meaning to the investment. Even when I do financial advisory services, I'm always keen on asking about the why. What is the purpose of your investment? What is the purpose of creating your business? What is the legacy that you want to keep, and why are you doing this business? So I'm really passionate about helping and supporting entrepreneurs in their financial and in their personal investments.
I love that. And I want to clarify to make sure I understand. Are you saying NGOs is the like non-governmental organizations, like something like that? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yes, exactly. And I'm sorry if it wasn't very clear. What I meant is not that NGOs are not the right place. What I meant is that for my aspirations, I felt that I wanted to leave the corporate world at that moment and to join NGOs, because I was just, idealist and naive to think that everybody wants to be like me, just make an impact and all that. And I realized that there were so many things and rules and egos to manage. And I felt that what's the point of leaving the corporate world to be here? I prefer by far doing the volunteering work for NGOs. This is very personal. I'm not saying I applaud everyone that is working in an NGO, but I mean, for me, it was not that. So that's why it almost led me to a burnout, to be honest. And this is what led me today to where I am. Because when I had this burnout, and maybe we'll have the opportunity to talk more about that, this is when you reach, a low vibration in your life, this is where you take, I think, the best decisions that can be a game changer.
Absolutely. I can totally relate on the burnout. But before I go to my next question, Brooke said family offices are considered NGOs. Is that correct?
It's not what I meant. What I meant is the non-governmental agency working for, like I worked in the concept in Lebanon. We refer to NGOs more for like associations, but that are well established. So I was working in the prevention and legal side and treatment of addictions. So I worked also with cancer, children cancer center. I worked for Alzheimer's disease, and I was doing it. It was so good to do this for free, because for me it was the give back to society, helping. It's very personal. Again, doing this for money did not suit me. So. It's very personal, but it has helped me definitely connect the dots and to understand what I really want.
It's amazing. Well, we're so glad that we're getting to know more about you, Elsa. So in terms of what was key to your success, would you say it was connections, personal growth? What was key to your success that helped you to get to where you are today?
Okay. One of the main things that I think helped me to succeed was staying true to myself and to my core values. So my core values being integrity and gratitude, mainly, among others, of course. And what helped me as well is, moving, because I mentioned the burnout, or almost burnout. It was moving from, judging or blaming circumstances. We've been living really through hell in Lebanon the past 4 years. We're having the blast, probably heard about it, even if you don't know Lebanon very well. I think everybody heard about the August 2020 blast, the explosion that happened in Lebanon, one of the biggest in the world. We had the recession, we had the inflation, we have political instability, we have almost poverty. So I can tell you the exchange rate moved from 1,500 into more than 150,000 in a few years. So multiplied by 100, whereas the salaries are kept at almost the previous rate. So all this put me at some point in a position where I was blaming the circumstances, the country, and everything. What really drive my success and what makes me today unstoppable, to come back to the song that you shared, it's really what I feel. I'm unstoppable. And this mainly is due to the shift from judgment, victim, low vibration into blameless discernment, from guilt into inspiration, from blame into accountability, from fear into courage, and mainly getting rid of my biggest saboteur, that was perfectionism. So I'm very thankful for the perfectionism that has helped me along the way to do better always. But I think the sage in me today realized that as an entrepreneur, it's not going to help me. It's going to be a saboteur. When you're part of a structure and you are a perfectionist and you are a hyperachiever, you still have this structure that would put the limits to it. But when you are on your own, building a business from home with 3 kids, through adversity and a lot of challenges, and when everybody around you is not, it does not necessarily believe, like, what? Who's gonna pay for coaching? People are starving. What? You're gonna invest money? You're gonna study at 46 and start a new business? Go and find a job. Go and find. So everybody around me was not so supportive. But what helped me to succeed is I think the resilience that I had, the passion behind it, and the fact that I moved also from this feeling of, if I go and study, if I put, because I was, we had, I was a very successful businesswoman before leaving my career for some times due to all the situation that we had here. And in the 3 years where I was not working, actually, I was working, because being a mom, we're all women here, is, I don't know who's a mom here, but honestly, it's a full-time job. So at some point, I asked my husband to stop saying I'm not working. I said, I'm working. I'm just working for free. I work 24 hours a day. So please stop saying I'm not working. And then I realized the amount of leadership skills that I've learned, the amount of other soft skills that we learn through our kids. And this is not to be underestimated. And adding all that to the fierce and passion and commitment also. When you study coaching, the first thing you learn is to show up, no matter what. The first thing to learn is to stop giving yourself excuses. That doesn't mean ignoring self-care, because there's a big difference between giving yourself excuses, not to show up, and going into a burnout because you don't know how to stop when you need to stop and take a break instead of, quitting. So there's a whole, it's very subtle, actually, to do the balance between the self-care that you need and the commitment that also you need to respect. And I guess one other thing that I want to add that has definitely helped me is also moving from insight, because I am positive by nature. But sometimes it's not enough. What we need is build the muscle. So what is helping me is taking any adversity, any difficulty as a teacher to improve, as a PT, you know, like a PT trainer for my mental fitness. So I take my brain as a muscle, and every challenge is a new PT session. And this is how I build the necessary muscle to sustain and to be consistent. Yeah, I hope that answers.
That's amazing. And that actually just led us to the next question, because all of us, we are aligned on that side that we need to work on every single aspect of our lives and a lot on our mindset and spiritually. But how do you stay grounded on your spiritual side and your personal side, being a mom and all that?
Yeah, spiritual side is crucial for me because you know, whether you, no matter what, from which religion you follow or not, I mean, being spiritual is having the faith in life, in believing in yourself, in others, in the gratitude, in being mindful, also being ego-free. For me, that's the spirituality, about what spirituality is about. And being ego-free is so helpful. It makes life so easier and so lighter. And being a surfer also, you know, when you believe, when you have the faith, instead of feeling the need to control, you start enjoying surfing through challenges and difficulties. And I love this concept of surfing because it brings happiness, even when you are in a very difficult situation. You know, when you say, okay, how can I surf? It automatically brings the sea, the sun, and it enlightened the whole process. And it also, spirituality, the way I stay grounded is I trust the process. It's very important to be goal focused, but I've learned also throughout the years that, you know, being obsessed by the goal, by reaching the goal, and perfectionist and hyperachiever, okay, will get you to the goal, but at what cost? And if you're only focused on the goal, then you tend to, you know, have some resentment towards failure. Whereas when you trust the process and you enjoy the journey, you don't really, I mean, you want to reach that goal, but it's okay if you don't, or if life takes you to another way. You know how to surf, how to use it, and how to take the lesson. And I think that's all about, you know, the faith and trusting the process. And it's very spiritual at the same time.
I love that. I'll definitely love that, because sometimes we get so caught up on our next deal and our next investment, our next big move, deals and everything, and we start losing ourselves, you know, especially in these industries and transactioning to these levels. It is very important to just enjoy the process and take a step back and be grateful, just like you said, like be grateful for where we are and understand that this is a process, and especially real estate is a long-term transactions that we do and investments that we do. So thank you so much. That's amazing.
Thank you. And I just want to add something, you know, everything in life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's also behind trusting the process and accepting that even if it doesn't happen the way you want it, what you see in what happens is exactly what will be, you will see the proof of what you believe in. So if you see the mistakes or the failure as lessons, then you will have the proof, because at some point you will use that and you will have this curiosity instead of having, so it's also moving from anxiety to curiosity when things goes wrong. And whatever you believe, you're right. If you believe you can, you will be right. If you believe you can't, you will also have the proof that you can't. And I think this has made a huge impact on the way I trust the process, and I believe, because it will happen if you believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
So many great things coming from you, Elsa. And this is recorded, by the way, so y'all don't need to take notes or anything. Just be completely engaged. And you took me to another place when you mentioned being a surfer, because that's one of mine and Jeremy's places, is the beach. And anytime we're overwhelmed and consumed in the constant go, we're like, let's go to the beach, and it just takes you to another place. So thank you for giving me that visual. We're going to go ahead and flip it to another topic. So we all invest in apartments or are looking to invest in apartments in this Massive Capital Girls community. So what would you say is an important factor when it comes to investments? And are you currently invested in anything? And what is your reason for investing?
Yes, I think that investing in real estate is one of the best investment other than in yourself, because for me, investing in yourself is the best, gives you the best return on investment. But definitely as an advisor to multifamily businesses, I always put non-bankable assets and real estate investments as a part of the basket, because it's like we say in French, it's a valeur sûre, so it's a safe haven of investment. I mean, even we all know what happened in 2008 in the US, and and we have lots of other examples, but at the end of the day, we also saw what people did with the houses that went down, and they made a lot of money. So as long as you're patient, I think investing in real estate is one of the greatest investments you can do for yourself and for the generations to come, because with time, it can only grow. And being in Lebanon, I can tell you that one of the best investment I did was my moving from one house to another, and we moved to a big house with a garden and all that. And I really feel it affects my well-being. Secondly, it also helped me to stay out of the banks, which in Lebanon, if you kept your money in the banks, you lost almost everything. So it was one of the best investments I did as well on a personal level. I also invest in REITs for my clients in real estates. So I think it's interesting because they have the yield that they can get. I think you have other benefits from investing in real estates for people like us also, again, that wants to have another citizenship. So you have lots of opportunity when you invest in countries to have at some point to get the nationality of the country, and also to have the exposure to other culture and countries.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And, after dealing with all those family offices on high net worth individuals, what are some things that you saw in common from all of us in terms of investing, taking money decisions?
I think that the strength of a family office, of the family offices, is that from my experience, the way the interesting part, if you want, is that each family office normally or usually have one strength or one area. They are more like the expert, and putting in contact different family offices with investment that are outside the market investments, just really opportunities, specific opportunities. I think that's amazing, because these throughout the summit of family businesses that I have attended, I was able to find a lot of investment opportunities that you cannot find on the market. So I think it's yes, it definitely opens up the door to many investment that the regular investors don't have.
So I've noticed there's questions in the chat, and we are going to take the time to open it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your virtual hand or drop it in the chat. Let's see if we can scroll back to the chat questions. Did y'all see what the first one was, ladies? There's so many questions in the chat.
I know, we've got so many good ones, but if you do want to raise your hand, you're more than welcome to ask it live in person, or we can ask it for you from the chat.
Brooke was the first one. Go ahead, Brooke. Do you want to ask your questions? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Brooke.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The mute button has been my enemy today, I'm telling you. So from being a financial advisor and your time in family offices, what tips would you give women to take control of their financial future?
The first thing I would give, again, I don't want to sound like redundant, but really what I've learned from all my experience is do not focus only on the money, on investing in your money. Really, it's crucial to invest in the legacy, in the vision, in the leadership. If you want, as a woman, to have a sustainable business beyond your time on earth, I think that investing in the scalability of the business. When I say family business, by the way, family business is like more linked to blood. Yes, my concept of family business is, and this is why I say I coach and mentor all generations of entrepreneur, because from generation 1 to what we can call a family business, it's all about the why behind the business that you have created. And investing, and of course, diversifying your investments is very important into real estate, into the market, into specific opportunities. It's important. But today, my focus is on, when you have a business, you want it to be successful, you want it to be sustainable, you want to create a legacy. And if you want to work, if you want to have a sustainable business, you need a sustainable vision. So I highly recommend that one of the primary investment would be in creating this leadership and preparing the transfer from one generation to another. One study showed that there are only 30% of family business that goes from generation 1 to generation 2, and only 12% that goes beyond generation 2 to generation 3, whereas from generation 3 and onward, it's less than 3%. For me, when you create a business, you create a legacy, whether it's through blood or by selling to other investors. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the value, the vision, and the impact that you want to make. And that's why I dare to be selective when I choose my client. Actually, I choose value-driven entrepreneurs. So it's very important to succeed, to make money, to have the right investments. But it's also, for me, very important at this stage, to make a difference, to make an impact. The world doesn't need more of only successful people. The world needs more mindfulness, more kindness, more. And again, that's not to diminish the importance of investment. I know we're here as, investors mainly, but it's important for me to share this. It doesn't mean that I don't give the importance. Of course, I give importance to the investment and to the bankable investment, the money side, but I don't want people to wait to get,
Yeah, I mean, more of a well-rounded individual. I mean, there's success-driven, but then there's all those other aspects that you mentioned that kept you so spiritually driven and avoiding that burnout. So I totally understand, and thank you for sharing that. That is what we all need to strive for, to be the most well-rounded professionals that we can be.
Definitely. It's I want to be successful myself. I want to help my clients to be successful. But the only thing I'm adding is to be happily successful. So they don't feel the way I saw my client, with billions, miserable at 80 and saying, I wish I had given more time to my family. I wish I had. We don't need to get there. I mean, we can be successful. We can invest, we can be, result driven. And I'm not saying that, we need to be Mother Teresa and wait and, no, I totally understand. We need to be successful. We need to invest. We need to have the right advisory services. But today, I think it's crucial to keep in mind the why behind everything that we do, and to be intentional about the decisions that we take.
I have a question for you as well, because I have a similar career background as you. I've been in insurance for 30 some years and worked with many business owners who sometimes successfully pass on the business to the next generation, but often not. So the statistics that you gave, I've seen personally firsthand in a lot of the businesses that I've worked with over the years. And my question to you is, how do you coach your business owners, your family offices? And most importantly, the second question, how do you teach your children about the legacy that you're building for them, so that you can help the next generation, not only in your own personal family, but also when you're coaching or helping these family offices and or other business owners?
Okay. Thank you for this question, by the way. Parenting is one of the best example of implementing leadership skills. And this I've learned because I've been a general manager, head of private banking, senior VP at Merrill Lynch. I've really had a lot of leadership positions, but I think one of the most rewarding was the leadership and the autonomy that I try to implement to my kids. By there was a colonel, I forgot his name, but who said, when you wake up and make your bed, this is where you start your self-command, and start to take the command of your day. And this is one of the simplest way of taking your life in charge, because you start your day doing something and it's for the rest of the day. It's as simple. I have 3 kids, and I can tell you my little son is 11, and he cooks for us. He is passionate about football. He listened. Last time he was sick, I'm going to tell you this small story because it's funny and it's also very impactful. I was listening to Shirzad, so the program I was referring to earlier as Positive Intelligence. And he talks at some point, one of the videos was about seeing the 10% positive in any situation. Okay, the 10% in any relationship, in any circumstances that are perceived to be negative. And the next day, something happened at school, and I didn't even know he was listening because he was sleeping next to me. And he came back and said, you know, Mom, I was thinking, what is the 10% positive I can get out of this? And I was like, oh my God, did you listen to that? He said, I was sleeping, but all night I was reviewing all my situation that I perceived as negative. And I was thinking, what positive I can take out of it. So this is just one example, but I think the other one would be the non-directive approach that I have with my kids, and that I also had from my parents. You know, that instead of doing the things, you help them, you explain to them that they are resourceful. If your kids fall down, you don't jump and help them.
Well, it's time for us to go to bed.
Yeah, she froze.
That you
And a good hand motion. Oh, there she is.
Elsa, you froze for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We were on
You're
the
good,
part
you're
where if your child falls, you don't jump to help them.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So there are lots of little things that that I implement, I guess, on a daily basis in the way I talk to my children, that hopefully, will help them to be assertive. I think assertiveness is extremely important. Learning from mistakes, embracing failure. These are, and the empathy. I think empathy and flexibility are one of the most important skills that one can have as part of leadership skills. That's for the kids. I can talk for hours about my kids, because I've been 3 years at home with them with the COVID and all the recession and all the problem that we had. So that's seeing a situation that you perceive at some point as negative or difficult or challenging as a gift. You see, when I was close to burnout and I decided to, we were moving houses and I decided to take a break. The 3 years that I passed with my kids, it's only now that I realized how much I've learned, and that it's not a gap. It's actually one of the most intensive learning years that I had. So, I'm grateful for that, actually.
That's amazing. And there's a lot of moms here, so I'm pretty sure they are taking notes on that. Brooke, we go to your last question, and then we're gonna get ready for breakout.
I think I just had another question, but excuse me, it's being 2:46 a.m. I kind of lost the second question. What was your second question? So I touched based on it.
I just wanted to find out how you instruct or work with these offices and business owners from a standpoint of helping them set up the legacy, because it gives me a broken heart when I see these corporations that spend a whole lifetime putting their organization together, and then maybe it makes it to the second generation, but it surely doesn't make it to the third. And I've seen it firsthand, and I just wonder what advice you give, or what things that you recommend to help that succession.
Yeah. Okay. I think that the uniqueness, if you want, of my program is that I've and what I can share with the entrepreneurs or the family businesses is the fact that I'm multicultural and multilingual. So I speak fluently 3 languages, and I've worked with French multinational Lebanese companies, US companies, UK companies. So I have this openness to different culture, and I've been with different clients, and the fact that I've been covering Lebanese expats across the world also makes me, if you want, aware of different types of family offices, different types, because there are lots of common points, but there are also specifics to culture. So when you go to a Saudi family business, you will see a lot of difference in the mentality and in the way they handle business. If you go to a Lebanese, but people from Lebanese origin, but that were born and were grown outside Lebanon. And if you look at Lebanese, it has a lot of difference. Having the opportunity to work with all these different types of culture and mentality, I think, has helped me to acknowledge what are the common things. And what I found the most interesting thing about coaching family businesses versus consulting or advisory services is the fact that you have the baron, the father, the generation one who feels that this is their business. And it's very hard for them to understand that after a certain point, although it's your business, it's your money initially, today it's not anymore about your money. So today, if your son is the director of marketing and he wants to have a Porsche, he's not entitled to a Porsche because he's your son. He's entitled to a certain type of car that is in the rules and regulation of the company. It's not because it's your son that if you want to give him a Porsche, fine, let him pay the difference. This is the subtle things that people don't realize because they feel that they are the business is. There is a difficulty to separate the business, the money of the business with the money of the personal money and the budget of the family. And what happens when they reach out for a consultant is that the consultant comes, they make an assessment, the analysis and everything, and they come with an advices and, reaching certain way to handle the, or focusing on the challenges that they might face or they are facing. And most of the time, the reaction of the business owner, especially from the first generation, is, oh, yes, you're right. I totally understand what you're saying. But in our family, this never happens. Like, the mixing and all that. There is a huge denial that this exists in their own family. And what I love about coaching in this versus consulting is the fact that coaching is non-directive approach. And when you sit with the family, you assess their values, the why, the what, the where, the reason behind this business, and the way, what do they want. You acknowledge the vision of the second generation versus the first, the innovation. You let them understand the difference between not only there's a gap of generation in the mentality, but also in the circumstances. So if a business owner has started their business in 1920, and the father, they have to understand that the circumstances today are not the same. So they cannot stay in their 20s. It's important to understand the difference. What the power of coaching is that you don't give them the advice. They come up with a solution. And when they come up with a solution from questioning, powerful questioning and exercise and team coaching and all that, they feel the ownership of the solution. And so they cannot tell you, oh, this doesn't happen in our family, because actually what they found is what they have found, and that is specific to their family. And so it's much easier to convince them, if you want, or for them to implement what they've learned out of the coaching process. Now, I'm not saying it's an easy thing, because already you have resistance to the coaching at the beginning. But I think it's super important to add this non-directive, so to make the client feel that they are finding their own solution.
So Elsa, I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to pivot a little differently right now. So what I want to hear is you went on a sabbatical. What were your biggest takeaways on that sabbatical? Did it change you as a person? Did it provide you more clarity or guidance in your future? So many people hear about sabbaticals and I'm very intrigued on that. And I would like to hear how that was for you and what type of clarity it gave to you.
Yes, definitely. The sabbatical, as I said, it came after a kind of disillusion or almost a burnout. I probably took the sabbatical before going into a burnout, but I was almost there. And so what happened to me during that sabbatical is initially, it was not for fun. It was really because I was exhausted. And what happened is that at some point I was just sitting and staring at the wall and just feeling like, oh my God, there's somewhere I have failed, because I was such a successful, when you tell this story to yourself, I was successful, I was the rising star in Maryland, I was head of this and head of that, and I was making money, and all of a sudden I have no income. My husband's income went from, a very decent salary into, because it was in Lebanese pound, into peanuts. It was a shock. I mean, I had from prosperity to almost scarcity, and the fear and the anxiety that I never had, because I've always been this believer, and I have this since I was a child. I used to say I have this bowl inside that is sparkling, and whenever I feel sad, I look at it and it will sparkle. I used to say this at 10, and I continue to see the sparkle today. So it was not me. I mean, I was vibrating so low and seeing things so difficult that what helped me during this sabbatical year is that one day I was staring at the wall, and I don't know how, but it just hit me. I said, okay, and nobody's coming. It hit me that, taking a sabbatical is not gonna make me, it's not gonna attract a new job alone. It's not gonna attract prosperity. Nobody's coming to save me. Nobody's coming to save the country. The circumstances will not change, and maybe they are going to get worse. And this is exactly what happened, actually. And I can tell you that after this sabbatical year, I had the most beautiful, energetic, successful year in the most difficult circumstances. So the main takeaway from this sabbatical for me is that our lives are shaped by the action we take. And it's about blameless discernment. Whenever you see something wrong, you just acknowledge it, but you don't let it affect what you want to do. And again, to come to the surfer, it's not about controlling everything, but there are a few things that we can control. Even though we cannot control 100% of the outcome, we can control the behavior. And when you focus on this, as Tony Robbins says, where focus goes, energy flows. And I'm a living proof of that. I'm a total different person from what I was 2 years ago. I'm not a different person from my the initial person I was, but I claim back my life, my happiness, this sparkling bowl that I had. And it all came back just with a shift of mindset. Nothing has changed. None of my circumstances have improved. Nothing. They are even worse than ever. But for me, I'm happiest than ever. So I strongly believe in the power of mindset. And one more thing, if I want to give just one advice, is that, you know, the mindset, we look at it as the insight, the positive insight that we have. It's great. Insight is amazing, but it's not enough. We need to train our brain as a muscle. And this is the only way you shift from, you know, working on a saboteur mode into the sage mode, where you see things with a different perspective. It's not about being toxically positive or faking positivity. It has nothing to do with that. It's very different. It's just embracing, accepting, or finding this very little positive that you can find in any situation, knowing that it has a lot of negativity. But then it's you know, putting the self-command instead of being in a cab, in a taxi, just you drive your own car, and you decide of the destination, and you enjoy the ride to the destination. You don't just get obsessed with the destination.
Well, I think so. We've had so many great questions and so many great responses that we didn't have time for breakout rooms, which is totally okay, because we are enjoying this moment. We did drop Elsa's LinkedIn information there. There's also a QR code behind her if you haven't scanned it, and that's going to get you in direct contact with Elsa. And then we also have our Massive Capital Girl Society website link in there. If you liked what you saw tonight, please join us next time. Elsa, how can they reach you other than the QR code? Is that the best way to reach you?
Yes, and I'm gonna copy in the chat. Just a second.
Thank you, ladies. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us tonight.